finishing, and I got a phone call from my friend who taught at a private school in New York City. She said that her school was throwing out a whiteboard and wanted to know if my school could use it. I said, I don't know, let me check and see with my principal. And then we decided, yeah, why not, let's bring it in. When I brought it in my Honda Civic, my principal came by the next morning and she looked at me and she goes, Ashley, where did you get this stuff? This is hundreds of dollars. And that's kind of when the idea clicked. There was a supply, and there were these supplies that were literally being thrown away, and there was a demand for them at these inner city schools.
When BUSS first got started, our first goal was to identify schools that we thought would have supplies that they'd be willing to donate. We call those our donor schools. We picked up the phone and we called as many schools that we could think of. Fortunately, a lot of those schools had supplies that they were willing to donate. After we found out that these schools had supplies they were willing to donate, we identified what we call our donee schools, schools that receive these items in the inner city. We had a lot of connections to donee schools because of our time in Newark as Teach for America Corps members. Now as time went on, the donor schools knew we existed and called us whenever they had a supply they'd be willing to donate. Once they did that, we went into our network of donee schools, which now is about 25 schools, and we matched the donor to a specific donee who had that need. We arranged for a moving company to move the larger items at a discounted rate, and the smaller items we delivered ourselves in Ashley's Honda Civic.
BUSS was an absolute benefit to our school. They were able to donate things like cafeteria tables, science materials, and one of the benefits for my classroom was the classroom library. One thing that happens in our school is that we don't really get the resources that we need, and BUSS really tapped into that, and they were able to get us a lot of books for our kids and made not only my life easier, but the children's lives way better.
What has happened since that first story? BUSS has been beyond successful. We have gotten over $70,000 worth of supplies to various schools in the New Jersey and New York areas. This includes desks, math software, science supplies, cafeteria tables, and even smart boards.
As a former teacher myself, I know that I had to spend a lot of time and money securing my own supplies. That time would have been better spent lesson planning, differentiating, classroom management, or talking to parents. If I don't have to spend time finding and securing supplies, I'll be a much more effective teacher.
I worked at a very under-resourced school, and as a Spanish teacher, I had limited resources. I had no access to textbooks, materials, or anything suitable really to use to teach my students. And so it was a very struggle to try to find different materials to use.
I've worked at a private school for 3 years now. We're fortunate enough to have access to a great deal of supplies. Unfortunately, oftentimes we have an excess amount of supplies towards the end of the year. Before we partnered with BUSS, these supplies would go to waste. Now that we have a relationship with BUSS, we not only have a place to donate, but we're forming connections with schools.
There are a lot of organizations that already address the issue of resource inequity in our nation's schools. But what makes BUSS different is that we provide the needed transportation. The schools themselves don't really have to do anything other than pick up the phone and call BUSS. We come to the school, we organize the pickup, and we deliver it directly to the donee school. Schools themselves don't have anything else to do.
BUSS has been an unbelievable organization and an asset to my classroom. Last year alone, they donated ink cartridges to my entire school. We had run out of ink midway through the year. Ryan and Ashley contacted me, said they had some ink that I could possibly use. They came, delivered it. It was amazing. We got great use out of it.
I really think that if we were given extra money, we could take BUSS to that next level and make it really go from step A to step B and have BUSS do future moves so that we can continue to roll those wheels all across the country.
This is a great idea. This has the potential to really put a huge dent in the achievement gap. We've laid the groundwork. We have the schools. We've done the deliveries. Now it's just about expanding. With your help, BUSS can go from being a great organization to a transformational organization.